So when you're designing a garden, probably not starting with something like this. You'll be starting with a new house block or renovating an old garden. And the first thing you want to do really is get the basic ideas down. So with Living Pictures, our process is three-staged. The first part is the concept session, then we go to detailed plans, and then to the final installation. And you might use us for one or all of those. But the first thing you really have to do is get the concept session. Get the concepts down, just the broad ideas. So what I mean by that is who's going to use the garden, how are they going to use the garden, what sort of features do you need in it? So will you want a swimming pool, an outdoor entertainment space, a place for the kids to roll around like a lawn, a place for the dogs to run around, all of those sorts of features in the garden, we'll talk about those. And the first thing we'll do is lay those out so it makes sense. That is, you can get to them easily and it makes sense in terms of the flow of the garden. And once we've done that, we're going to have a conversation about soil preparation, irrigation, drainage, lighting, all of the basic infrastructure of the garden. But the soil preparation is the key. And that's because if you've got a new home, the machinery that's been on that soil has probably compacted in it and it might need renovating. If you've got an old garden, sometimes you get a lot of root growth and some of that needs to be sorted out. So as we move through that conversation, we end up putting down on paper, so to speak, the basic ideas. And we'll talk about, as I said, irrigation and drainage to go with that. And then we end up with a layout. And then what we do is decorate that layout by putting our plants in. So again, we're having a conversation about what sort of garden you like. Do you like formal gardens or do you like cottage gardens? Though I have to say most people don't like cottage gardens. And do you want a structured garden of some sort? So then what sort of a gardener are you? Or are not, as the case may be. So at the end of that, I've got a sense of what sort of garden you like and therefore what sort of a plant palette you would work with. And so together we'll select those plants that you like to go in your garden. We end up then with a picture, a plan, not to scale, but a sketch plan that shows where all the plants are, where the swimming pool is, where the entertainment space is, what kind of spaces you have for those. And experience tells me that most people don't really have much of a sense of how big some of those entertainment spaces and outdoor spaces need to be, because it's different from inside your house. But we'll have that conversation. And then we'll talk about the sorts of materials. Are we using decking? Are we using paving or stone or concrete? Do we need to build retaining walls? All of those sorts of things go into that basic concept. And we end up then with a plan, not to scale as I said, and also an artist's impression sketch. What that is basically gives you an idea of what the garden will look like in a few years' time when it's fully grown, say viewed from the family room window. So that's our concept session. And from there, we start talking about detailed plans so that your contractor can actually build it. And that'll be the subject of our next video. So let's go inside and have a look at what a concept session looks like. So when we're doing a concept session, we're going to sit down around the table and have that conversation that I referred to earlier, where I'll then draw a sketch plan for you. And so we'll have the plants on it, we'll have any features like statues and urns, those sorts of things, paving, decks, swimming pools, all of those sorts of things will be on paper for you. When I've done that, I can then email that to you. We'll also give you a garden information kit. And we'll show you that close up in a second, but that gives you all the information so you don't forget the things that we've talked about in terms of things like drainage and irrigation, soil preparation, paving, decking, swimming pools, those sorts of things, how to lay a turf and so on. So once I've completed the sketch plan, it'll look something like this. This one is a fairly small garden, but you can see here that we've got the shrubs in, we've got a little veggie patch over here, we've got our plants are all labelled, we've got a little feature which is a line of sight out of the family room, and we've got some paving around there and the paths and so on. And once I've done that one, I then will produce an artist's impression sketch. And that'll look something like this one. Viewed from the family room, this is what you might see in, say, 5 years' time once the plants have started to grow to maturity. Once I've completed both of those, I email those to you so you've got a permanent record of them. So once I've sent you the concept sketches, I'll also leave you with this concept kit. And this goes through things like soil preparation and irrigation drainage, how to properly do your soil preparation, how to lay a turf properly, how to install your irrigation properly. Not that you're necessarily going to do it, but really so that you know that your contractors are doing it correctly and you know what's to be achieved by installing these things. So all of that means you've got your sketches, you've got some technical information about what needs to happen, and you've now got a very strong idea of how this garden is going to look and how long it's going to take to install, and probably a ballpark figure for how much it's going to cost. So if you'd like a concept session, send us an email. The email address is on the website, and you can call me, of course, directly. Phone number is also on the website. You can like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and hit subscribe on our YouTube channel.